So I'm going to show you 3 ways of actually creating these epoxy tables, and they all involve different techniques. So we have this technique here, which is a pad and a sketch, which involves basically the tabletop, and then the pocket is literally done by a series of B-splines in there, using the B-spline tool there and pocketing that out, and you get a asymmetrical style there. The other way is to use a mirrored body. So this is actually using the part and part design together in something that's actually valid. They say don't mix the two together, but there are places in there where they actually can mix. So this one is actually a single body where the pocket, the sketch on the pocket, it's just this shape here, and that creates a mirror on the other side, and this is still valid because it uses both the part and part design, but we've still got a valid feature here. And the other one is what I was using in the Python tutorial, is using 2 separate bodies with a subtractive pipe that goes through. There's a subtractive pipe here that's swept with a profile, so you can see the profile at the end there, and a path like so. I actually think I've got the wrong, yeah, I've got the wrong body showing there, so let's actually show those correctly. There we go, that's more like it. So there's our profile there and the actual path that is swept through here. If you look at this feature here, it's actually a fillet that goes along there, but it's actually created by the profile itself. So I wouldn't actually do that. I would actually come in here and create a square profile and then use that to actually create a path through here, and the tool path will follow that path, and then use a tool and CNC swap over to a fillet bit to actually remove this material here. Otherwise you're going to have to actually start doing a 3D path extraction along here, which can be complicated, takes time, and often can go wrong. So we're looking for the path of least resistance to actually create these. So I'm going to take you through each of these 3 ways of creating this for the epoxy table. If you like this video, please hit a like and also subscribe to the channel. I also have a Ko-Fi site where you can actually donate to my contributions to the community, and that's at ko-fi.com/MANG0. So for the mirrored feature, we're going to actually use 2 workbenches. We're going to use the part design and the part. So we're going to create a new document. I'm going to jump over to the part design first, and I'm looking at creating a body and creating a new sketch, and I'm going to stick on the XY plane, and OK. Now we're looking at creating half the table on here, so I'm going to use the rectangle tool and come in here and lay down half the table, and I want it intersecting this line here, this origin line. I'm going to escape, so I get my mouse point back, so I've got a rectangle down. I'm going to click on that point there and that point of the actual rectangle, and then the center of origin, and I'm going to use the symmetrical constraint in there. So that's symmetrically constrained now, and I'm going to put a length along here, and I'm going to say it's a 1 meter table. Now because it's half height, I'm just going to find the end and I want the table to be half a meter, so I'm going to place 1/4 of a meter in here, 1/4 of an M, and OK that, and we'll just zoom out and bring that back into position. So that's our table sitting there. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to pad that up with a 60mm pad. Let's go and find where it is. So I'm just going to fit the screen. There we go, and just move this over. So that's 60mm pad. Actually, I might go 75 on there. And okay that. So remember, we're only working on one side here. So because we've got that body, what I'm going to do now is jump over to the part, and I'm going to mirror this body. So if I click on the body, go up to part, and look down, I see mirroring. So click on that, and that will create a mirror for us, but we first have to decide what part of the shape we want to mirror. So I actually want to mirror the whole body, and it's mirroring at the moment on the XY plane, which I don't want. Now, to understand where that's going to be mirrored, I'm going to go over to model, and I'm going to look at my body and look for the origin, this one here. I'm going to press the space bar, and what happens is that we get this helper come up. Now if I move this over using the control and actually moving my mouse, and I can see that I want to mirror along the ZX plane there, or the XZ plane. So I'm mirroring this way. So we go back to our tasks, and the body selected, and we'll drop this down to XZ plane. So this one here. And okay that, and that's created a mirror. So what that does is that anything I do on the original will be mirrored. So it's important that we actually create our sketches on the original. So if I click one of these, you can see nothing selected up here, but if I drill down, you can see the body has been selected and the pad has been selected. So you've got the blue line along the pad. If I selected the mirror will be highlighted in blue. I'm just going to get rid of this origin in a minute because we don't no longer need that. So everything I have to actually do is on not the mirror, but actually on the pad. So if I create a sketch on this pad here, this one here, back in the part design, make sure that one's selected, which it is, and create a sketch, or using the create a new sketch from there. If I placed some kind of feature on here, say a square, which I then hit close, and I padded that, you can see that's padded on the other side as well. Okay. And you can see they've actually replicated and mirrored on the other side. Hit delete on the pad, so that's gone. So we've got the sketch back. And I'm going to edit that sketch. And I don't want that. What I want is to make a pattern here that's going to be mirrored below. So I'm going to use the Bespline tool. And I'm just going to come in slightly, and I'm going to work from outside in. So the first point is going to be outside, and I'm just going to make some kind of interesting pattern in here. You can make whatever you want, but this is just for demonstration purposes. And we'll come outside, come down, move right the way across, and then just going to put another point near the origin. We'll zoom in. I'm going to hit escape, get my mouse pointer back, hit escape again, there's my mouse pointer, and we'll just connect those two up. So our sketch is closed. So we can actually pad that now. So I'm going to close. And I said pad, I'm in pocket, so let's pocket that. And you can see the effect that we got going across there. So we can set that to whatever depth we want, so something like 30mm. And there we go. So that's good. So we can OK that. We can add more features on there if we so desire. So we can come in here and select this face and add a sketch in there. And I can add some detail in here if I so desire. So I'm just going to add some little circles, and these will be mirrored as well. So close that, and we're going to pocket those. 5mm, OK that, and those are pocketed in there. So that's the mirrored way of doing this for symmetrical cutouts. But say if you wanted an asymmetrical cutout, so more like this style. Well, that one's quite easy to do. With this one we've just used a single body and placed the sketch in there and done the same. And we'll just quickly do that now. So let's come out of that one. Let's get rid of what we've done. So I'm just going to delete those out and delete the mirror. So we started from afresh. We're in the part design. I'm going to create a sketch, XY plane, OK, and I'm just going to lay down a rectangle for the table. I'm not going to worry about constraints. Close that, and I'm going to pad that up. Remembering I haven't actually done this to scale with this one. So that's padded. And what we need to do is remove material in here. So let's actually make this slightly bigger. And there we go. And the pad, let's bring that down to 6. There we go. It's a bit better. It's more like it. So for this one, we'll just create another sketch on this face here. And it's up to you where you want to go with this one. So we could use the Bespline tool again and just create a shape along here. And we can even come right outside here. Just remembering that when you actually do this, you can actually surround this with a frame to pour the epoxy in. Hit escape again, got the mouse pointer back, so we'll zoom in to that last point. And we've got to join the last point and the first point together. So just move those together and click those 2 points and use the constraint on those two. Close that, and then we can actually pocket that into there like so, and give it a number, and we can change that shape if we don't like what it looks like at the moment. Just OK that, look at the pocket, open up the pocket, click sketch, and we can modify this to whatever we want. Okay. So whatever you desire, so we can actually bring that bottom on if we so desire as well, just by moving it back on the actual sketch. So there we go. So that's another technique. And the last technique would be to use the subtractive pipe through this. And there's two methods with this one. The first method is a single sweep across on one tabletop. And the third method is to split the tabletop in two and use two sweeps and bring them together. So let's do the first one first. So create a body, create a sketch, and this is just for our tabletop. Not worrying about scale, just worrying about shape at the moment. Let's close that, pad it up. Like so. Okay, that. And then you want to create a sketch on this face. But what we're going to do is do something slightly different. So create a sketch. And we're going to use the B-spline again. And create a pattern through here. Like so. Hit escape. And if we want to adjust this, we can to make it a bit more interesting. There we go. So this is the path that we're going to actually remove material from. So close out of that. So our B-spline is attached to our face. And what I'm going to do is, so there's our left, so our B-spline is there. So now we've got this attached to our body. I'm going to actually select this face and I'm going to create a sketch on this face, but I'm not going to actually leave it attached to this face. I'm going to actually remove it from the face. And the reason why I'm doing that is just to actually position the sketch. We could create one that's just inside the body and then move it, but what will happen, it will get embedded here and we're going to have to use our section view, which will come up here once we do this sketching. Get it positioned and then move it back. So it's much easier just to select the face, create a new sketch on that face, and advise you to use a rectangular profile for this, because if you're using this on a CNC machine, then you're going to have to use a tool to fillet out the sides if you want fillets. If you're doing this on a 3D printer, then you can use whatever profile you like. So that's there. Let's just change it and decide what depth I want to go, and also what width. So that will follow the path and take that material out. So I'm just going to make that slightly smaller. That's good. So close that. And before we get confused, so select one sketch. So that's the path sketch. You can see it highlighted in green. And we'll rename that to path. And the other one, which is this one, sketch 002, rename that one to profile. Click on the profile and remove the map mode. So we've got flat face there. Let's just remove that. So let's just highlight that flat face and take it out and select deactivated. So okay, so that's removed. Otherwise we might get some bizarre results when we actually sweep this profile across that length. So click on profile and then click on the sweeper selected sketch along the path. We'll go up to part design and go to Subtractive Pipe. Your profile will disappear, so that's actually selected in there, and now we need the object what we're going to use. So click on object and then click on that path, and that will be added, and you can actually see that it's removed that material already. Okay, and that material has been removed now. So this is for a single sized table and not two halves. So if we actually want to change this, we can actually go in here and we can alter the profile, make it a bit thinner if we so desire. Close that, and what will happen, that will recompute So you can see that's changed. If it doesn't change, go to edit and you'll see refresh won't be grayed out, so just refresh that. And also we can change the path and move it to wherever we want. Let's close that. You can see we've got the path there. And you might get these odd areas here, and what that is just if we go in, we can just manipulate this path to actually smooth those out. There we go, so that's cleaned up that. But again, we've got quite a uniform path going through here, so we've got this side is basically a copy of this side, so it's still uniform. If you want something that's not as uniform as that, then we actually have to do this twice, so we split it in half, and that's what we're doing now. And with this one, I've got this half size, but if I wanted to do, say, this down rather than going straight through the middle, I want it actually down about here, I would use a smaller height here and a larger height at the top. So we've got different widths of material. But I want this one going straight through the centre. And I'm going to use the B-spline again, and I just want to make a shape. Hit escape, hit escape again. And I want to do the same on close out. Rename this to path. Hit enter. And I want to look at the side, so click on right. And I want to create a profile along here that overhangs the empty space this side. So we click on that face, create a new sketch, and place a sketch on that face. It's going to use a simple square or rectangle along there. And we're looking to get that round about in the middle of the start point. Just move that or increase its size to whatever we desire. Let's close that, rename that sketch to profile, go to the map mode and remove the map mode. So we've got pad face 2, we don't want that, so just highlight it, delete, and click on deactivated. OK that, and then we can actually sweep that profile through that path. So click on profile, go up to the sweeper selected sketch, click the object, which is going to be the path. You can see that's already been removed. Hit OK. We don't really want anything like this because we would have to mirror that on the other side. So we can actually come into the subtractive pipe, look at the path, double click on it, and just move these to wherever we want to actually just get rid of some of those features. Close that. And what will happen is that you may see this subtractive pipe will become invisible. Just click on it, press your spacebar, it will come back. You may have to go out to edit, refresh as well, make any changes. So that's made that change there. So what I'm going to do is actually create the same on the other side. So that's another body. Using Control and C and click on the document, use Control V, you get the second body there, which is actually sitting underneath, so we can actually transform that out. Let's bring this into view, hit top, and all we're looking is just to move that out of the way. don't have to butt it up because they're two separate parts. Right click, transform, and just move that away. Then OK that, and where the body is, open that up. So this is the copy, and we can alter these profiles. So if we bring them in, let's bring the profile in and bring the path sketch in, and using this placement down here, so attachment, position, looking at the y-axis, so I can see with my helper where the y-axis is. I can then move that down and then do the same for the profile. Click on the profile, click on placement, position, y-axis, move that down so it intersects that. Go to tasks, and what will happen is that will move. So that's moved to the edge there, and we can just go in there and modify that path and just change the positioning to what we desire. So we can do something totally different here. Hit close, and then we can hide both of those and see what we got. And then we have the channel grooved through there. That is not mirrored or electrical in any way. One of the things you may want to do is create multiple layers. So we've got the actual cut through the material like so, but we've got this additional layer in here, and that's quite easy because we actually selected the previous pocket, actually selected in here, and what I've done is just cloned this previous sketch, which is here, and shrunk this down, scaled this down. But you may just want to actually sketch a new line or a new Bezier curve through there if you want a different shape. What I'm going to do is show you how to do that now, and I'm going to use the scaling method. So I'm going to take that pocket out and that sketch out, and hide that sketch. So this feature has been created by Sketch, this one here. Click on that. So we want to clone this sketch, and the easy way to do that is actually click on the sketch, go up to the draft, and when you're in the draft, got the sketch selected, go to draft, and there's a clone tool, and what this allows you to do is actually scale this clone. If you come down here, you can see the scaling. You've got the scale here. So open this out, and you've got X, Y, and Z dimensions. And now, what I normally do is just come in here and change the Y dimensions. So this is looking at a handler down here. Y is going this way. So I'm going to reduce this sketch. I'm going to go something like 0.6 in there. We'll just click in the field above, and you can see that's actually shrunk down now. If you don't click in the field above and you actually click on the actual screen, you'll have to actually go to edit and refresh. So if you're happy with that, you can actually go ahead with the next part, or we can actually move or do some scaling on the x-axis. So I'm going to actually not worry about scaling along the x-axis. I'm going to change the placement. Let's open this up a bit and come in here, and I've got X here, which I can see, so we can change that, and using my up and down arrow keys to actually move that into a different position. So I'm going to save out there. Come down to OK. That's sitting there. Now we can't actually use this as a pocket, we need to actually convert it back to a sketch. So there is a tool on the toolbar, convert bidirectionally between draft and sketch objects, or we can go up to draft and draft to sketch. We can then get rid of this clone, otherwise it can confuse us. So now we have this sketch here. If we jump back to the part design and click on model, make sure our sketch is selected, then you can see the map mode is deactivated at the moment, so we need to actually come in here and select that face. So that sketch is now attached to that face. Okay, that. And now we can actually pocket that. We've got a slight problem there, and that's because our sketch is outside our body. So we can just lift and drop that sketch inside the body. So now that's gone. Click on the sketch again, it's flat face, and we can pocket that. Let's pocket it in there, it's giving it a depth, so we can actually change that depth. Hit OK. And now we've got multiple layers going through there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and please look out for some more. I hope to see you again, and bye for now. Stay safe.